Okay. Yeah, the 100 wishes to write down that is because they are focusing on minute details. Okay, I wish I want a nice fancy jacket. I want new shoes. I want whatever, a table and a chair. That's their 100 wishes. It is because they are so focused on material.
Mm. Yeah.
They don't
So,
think abstract. To me, ever when they said, as a child, okay, you get 3 wishes. I never used all three. I only had one. I only used one. Always. I just wish that all my wishes would come true. It's like, duh.
like, duh. I
I
was
mean,
not that smart.
but seriously, isn't that just the one wish? Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, yes.
That was always for me as a kid, and it would frustrate and irritate my friends and my brother too. No, you got it. Why not? It's my wish. I do what the hell I like with my wish. They would object to this. Yeah, but that's not the idea. You have to have 3 wishes. Why? It was just astonishing to me. I said, that's my wish. I wish all my wishes come true. Okay, I'll wish that wish three
So,
times if you want, like.
yeah.
But they really objected to this. This
Uh,
fascinated me that they would object to it because it was like, oh, it's too clever or whatever. I don't know, but why they objected to it? It broke the pattern of their expectations. They wanted to hear now what you are wishing for. This was the big thing. Like, okay, you want money, you want
some
fame.
yeah, somehow people want to control. Like my sister Mona, she's married. uh, Whenever we got money for dresses, especially for Eid, Christmas in your
Yeah.
religion, so on Eid, my mama just gave everyone same amount. Okay, here's your money. You can buy shoes, clothes, whatever you want. So Mona always went for shopping, and the first thing she saw, and she says, "This is what I want," and she take it, and always expensive. But of course, I have money, and I said, okay, it's a rare thing, so okay, I will try to utilize it. I always try to utilize it as much as I could. Like, okay, buying some neutral things, and then I can wear them with different tops, with different things. So she said no, and then after that, she actually insisted me, and I was like scolding me. No, you will buy the same as I am buying. No,
Oh,
why would I do that?
yeah.
But it was her thing. So
Well, the
sometimes
reason
people
she's
I like that.
insisting for her to do the same is because if you do the same, then it justifies her indulgence.
Ah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, so let's go. We have topics,
All right.
and the first one was, with what intent you look around and look and observe the world around us. And second
Okay.
is being real in our everyday interaction is not necessarily obvious.
Hmm.
Being real is actually easier. Peculiar assumptions when it comes to questions. Asking questions.
Hmm.
Peculiar assumptions when it comes to of asking questions. What
Especially when
makes
it comes to
boring?
asking questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
What makes
What
boring?
makes boring boring? Confusion between information, knowledge, and intelligence, ignorance, and spirituality, and stupidity. Sorry.
uh, yeah, the difference in ignorance and stupidity. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What we say is not always what we mean.
Keep going.
Sophisticated usage of giving the benefit of the doubt.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
We, all caps, can actually usually answer our own questions. Rethinking prayer and what it actually is.
Oh, say the last one again.
Rethinking prayers and what it actually is.
Hmm. Okay. Keep going.
Understanding prayers as a profound tool for intent, for the articulation or communication of intent. I
That's the
just cut
same
it
one.
down. Implementation. Sorry, I just cut it. Oh, yes.
Mm.
Implementation of intent, of an intent. Of intent, not an intent, Veena.
Yeah, yeah.
Magical power of being connected to the I don't know, I missed that.
What is this one?
I missed that of implication.
Oh, implication. What about implication?
Yeah,
What was the
I'm
first
missing
part?
some words. I missed that one. Magical power
Of
of being
implication.
connected
Ah,
to the of implication. How it could
to
be.
the magic of implication.
No, you never repeat words in one sentence. No.
Oh, oh.
Magical power.
Ah,
The magic is already there.
the,
No.
of the magical power of the influence
Of being.
of the effect of influence, the consequences of implication, maybe. I don't know. All right, next one. And none of them are grabbing me yet, so don't worry. We'll come back.
Becoming smarter by understanding the power of implications. Practical usage of sign, symbol, omen.
Okay, not that one either.
And
there was one towards the end that I'm thinking of, but okay.
Profound necessity of shifting from seeking to application and being. And 3 P's: progression, patience, and what? I don't know. I just missed 2 words.
Say the last part again now.
3 P's.
Patience, persistence, and progression.
Yes. Let me write that.
Yes.
Persistent. Persistent. Persistence.
Oh, keyboard, come on. I type and then it brings up this new window. Now I have to wait until the new window kind of loads till I can close it. It's like, why? I'm busy typing, not opening a new window.
Patience and also figuring out emotions' origin.
Say that again, the last one now.
Patience and also figuring out emotions' origin. Emotions' origin.
All right.
But it isn't doing.
Yeah. Keep going.
Oh, these are.
Oh. I was thinking about the one of. That's it? That's all of them, really?
Yes, yes.
Oh. Where was the one about what kind of people for the wave impeccability?
You never tried that, no?
All right.
No.
Okay.
We haven't discussed that.
Yeah,
We discussed that, but not as a topic for FB Live.
Oh, that was kind of like one of the key topics for me. It's been on my mind to say, not necessarily which people, but yeah, I suppose. Okay, not necessarily which people for the wave impeccability, but the topic. Let's make it into a topic that's when it comes to self-change. What makes a difference? What results? What are the mindsets, attitudes, and intents necessary for self-change? Yeah. Okay. Let's get right into it. Live on Facebook. I have to type the title there in Facebook. So.
Oh my god, my background is noisy, I guess, for you.
That's okay.
No, for FB Live, it's not good. I have to.
If you close your door.
Yeah. Yeah, because FB Live, okay, yes, you understand that. You have patience.
It really doesn't matter. It makes it exciting in some way. So all good. It's just like, hey, stuff's happening over here.
Always happening.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, wow. Oh.
What?
Oh, it fools me every time. I hear the ding dong sound. You didn't hear it? When
No.
I start the Facebook Live, it makes that ding dong sound. I thought, oh, somebody's joining. It faked me out every time. Facebook or Zoom. I think it's a Zoom thing.
What's the topic?
Um, let's see. When it comes, no. Essential qualities. I don't want to say necessary. I'll just say essential qualities. Qualities. I'll say necessary. Necessary for deep self change. Profound self change. I'll say deep. Deep self change. Okay. Essential qualities necessary for deep self change.
Ah, Donna texted me. Are you zooming?
Yeah. I
Good.
told her we're on
Yeah,
Zoom
she
already.
says,
Yeah.
good morning, Dina. Are you zooming with Sil? Okay, I'm zooming.
Yes. Yes,
What
we
is
are.
this?
We are. We are. We are. Oh, we are. We
Okay.
are. I was chatting to her a little bit right now, just a little bit. So,
Uh-huh.
so yeah, just tell her yes, we're
Okay.
about to go on live, so then she knows if I don't respond why.
Good morning, Donna.
Good morning, magical Nana. Okay, essential qualities necessary for deep self change. I have no idea what I'm going to say, by the way. Isn't that
Okay, it's
amazing?
good.
Seriously, I just mention it because sometimes I have some sort of an idea. I have some more or less an idea. Of course, I know what qualities, but I don't have the words ready. But I just have developed the trust that they will come. So
Wow, you are live.
yeah,
You're already live.
all right, brilliant. I'll just wait for it to actually show on the Facebook page. All right, so our topic is essential. Let me just wait until it shows exactly. Okay.
I'm listening to you on live.
Oh, so you can already. All right. So our topic is essential qualities necessary or needed for deep self change. This is for real and lasting self change, not just any old self change, not just self change. Oh, you know what? I've learned some new thing, and I'm a little bit more this, I'm a little bit more that. No, real deep self change, and this is self change of the entire self. In self change, where we are talking about changing our deep fundamentals, our core, who we are, to shift from, for instance, being somebody who's just focused on ego and status, for instance, to somebody who's focused on on actual, real, deep genuineness, on integrity, on sensibility, on developing the core fundamentals of your character. So this is the kind of self-change we're talking about. And also the self-change of living a life where you are changing from living somebody else's life and their idea of what you should be, and should here is a very evil word, to what you really wish to be. So you might grow up in an environment where like being strong and tough and bossy and dominating is something which is seen as a good thing. But this might not go sit with your heart. You might not like, you might like kindness and generosity and consideration and gentleness. So yes, you may have learned how to be that way, but that doesn't mean that this is how you wish to be. So when we're talking about this deep self change, it is then finding that self of yours, your moreness also, which is the real you. So we are talking about what qualities are needed to get to that real deep you. Now we might say, one moment while I'm hearing myself. We might say, but why would I not be what I want to be? And that is a big question. That happens quite often, unfortunately, that we end up not living who we really are, who we really wish to be. And this comes from a number of reasons. Yes, we learn early on to conform and to be in a way that doesn't make us stick out, doesn't make us stand out, doesn't conflict with anybody, and also that is just a safe way to be. And that safe way to be is usually conforming in some way to others' expectations, others' beliefs, others' insistences, just into others' ideas of living, not our own. So we want to get to this point where we want to be who we really are and find out all of the things that we really are. And this is an interesting thing in terms of when we look at just our who we are and who we want to be, that often we're not fully aware of the fullness of the moreness of ourselves. We sort of have an idea, but as we start to get into self-discovery, self-awareness, self-improvement, we say, oh gosh, I never realized that I had this particular quality, that this was important to me. I never realized I even thought this was something I would like to be. I never thought that I could be this. I didn't realize I had such aspirations. All right, let's just take a concept, for instance, like nobility. I'll just speak from personal experience. I was focused on self-improvement from a very early age, like from age 10. This was my thing. This was my hobby, my passion, as it were. Hobby is not a good word. It was my passion. So this is my thing that I did. But anyway, so I'm looking at self-improvement to improve my patience, my understanding, my awareness, all of this stuff. But the concept of nobility didn't come until much later. And then it was sort of a surprising thing that I said, oh, wow, this is a powerful concept. This is something to aspire to be noble. And that really took me by surprise, because it was an extension of everything, but it wasn't a concept that, yes, I was aware of it more or less, but it was something that I didn't necessarily think was a me concept. You see, it wasn't that. But when I got into it, then yes, oh wow, this is really, this is like deep me. I wasn't immediately aware that, wow, it had such a strong pull and it was so powerful and so potent for me. So this is what I mean by discovering our deep self, the moreness of who we are. Yeah, Bina?
Okay, so my question is first, okay, I'm starting with the question.
No, I love the questions. Before you get to the questions, I wasn't actually getting to the essential qualities yet.
I know.
Okay,
I'm just asking you something about the title.
Yeah,
that you said it is about essential qualities required, necessary for the self change, and you also just stretch it a bit, and you said, okay, now it comes to the real self and the real me or real you and real us. And so because now this awareness is more essential, more necessary, that who we are and who we actually really are, and then we can inspire to be and to achieve that level, that real self, not level. So now there are two topics, though they are connected, but they are individually, independently, quite big topics you are discussing. The first is hello, Rachel.
Hello, Rachel. Good morning. Brilliant, brilliant, exciting, exciting. Keep going. Sorry, Bina, say again the
Yeah.
last part.
They are, you are actually incorporating two topics here,
Yeah.
both individually, independently, quite big topics. What is how to identify and what is real self, and what are the essential qualities required and necessary for the real change. So there are two
Yes,
topics that we are
yes,
discussing in this.
yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. Because in
Okay.
order to do the one, we have to identify the other one first.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So yes, Rachel, I suspect maybe you didn't quite hear what I was saying because, when you start up and you get onto this, it takes a little bit of time. So I was just saying that the topic of our Facebook Live, which we're doing now, is um, the essential qualities necessary for deep self-change. What are those essential qualities necessary for deep self-change? But then I started off talking about deep self-change, what that is and what that entails and what that implies. So just to recap that, we're talking about the self-change that is the change where we aren't just saying, oh, you know what, I've learned how to drive a motorbike or something, not this kind of, those are basic everyday skills, or even a surface skill like, okay, I've learned public speaking. Yes, that is self-change, and usually that does involve a little more. But I'm talking about self-change where we are changing some deep inner quality, like for instance, managing our anger. This is a very deep thing because it changes everything we do. So this is deep self-change, and also it's changing the kind of person we are, not just a specific quality. So the deep self change is about changing our overall behavior, and that usually comes from changing our inner beliefs, our inner qualities, our inner habits, and our inner abilities as well. Right. So the ability to be patient, for instance, the ability to be tolerant, things like this, the ability to have zoomed out awareness, and all of the things we talk about in the way of impeccability, all those qualities. So this is deep self change. And then also, when it comes to deep self change, and this point that Bina made now, when we are talking about deep self change, we are talking about changing the self in ways that are more than we might imagine when we start. So, deep self change has this implication of connecting to our moreness. And that moreness we may not always know initially, but as we go along, we realize, there's stuff that really, really deeply appeals to me, that deeply touches my heart, my soul, my intent, stuff that is more than just, oh, so that would be nice to have this quality. No, this is about stuff that is actually deeply, deeply important to us at a very deep root level. And it's we start to realize, oh, this is kind of like, oh, real me. This, and in a sense, almost we start to feel like, this is why I'm here, to acquire this, to be this, to become this, to grow into this. And usually that becoming and growing is kind of almost more like a remembering. It's almost like a reclaiming it. That's what it feels like, because it's so us, those deep aspirations of self, that moreness of self. It's so us that it feels like, but I'm not really learning this. I'm just like enabling it. I'm giving it space to come out. I'm giving it space to show. It was always there, but it got lost underneath all of the conditioning and the other stuff and the shoulds, and just us learning to conform and to not stand out and to be safe and protect ourselves and so on and so forth. So there's all sorts of reasons why we aren't connected to that moreness that we really are. But as we get into this deep self change, then that starts to come out. So that's a big topic that we can talk about another day, the moreness of ourselves. But today I want to really just focus on the essential qualities that are necessary in order and required in order to get this process going. So I see this with people that in terms of like when we're talking about the way of impeccability. I don't want to necessarily make this into an ad for the way of impeccability, but I want to use this because the way of impeccability is precisely that. It's just a toolbox, and the name, you can choose whatever name you want to do, and that's up to you. But essentially, we're using this as a mechanism for getting to your real self, right? For identifying, and for you, the whoever's involved, for like in your case now, Bina, you, Rachel, for you guys to find what is your real self, not according to me, but according to you. So the way of impeccable is just a toolbox for doing that. All right. So now we say, what is required for this? Or at least from my point of view, what really helps? What makes a difference? And this is important. So one thing obviously is interest. You have to be interested in self-change. I mean, this is like yeah, but sometimes, we think we should be interested in self-change. And some people come to self-change, and I see it in groups like our group, the Sassy group. But that, they think they should be in self-improvement, or they have an idea that self-improvement is as being wealthy and successful and having status. There are many self-improvement groups that are purely focused on that, right? So, the idea of what self-improvement is, that's also kind of a big deal. And sometimes it gets a little lost in translation. So in our context here, we're talking about self-improvement as working on your basic fundamentals of character. Simple things like patience and integrity and honesty and impeccability, all of these things, the basics, right? And then, of course, we go a little further. We say self-improvement, self-awareness, and this is, of course, working on awareness itself, the ability to be aware, to not get caught up in emotion bubbles, and to pay attention. And then we go to self-discovery, and this brings us to that moreness of self, to find out what really matters to you, what's really important to you, what really resonates with you. And this is what we use things like the Dictionary of Power for. Every time you make an entry of the Dictionary of Power, this is a self-discovery thing, because you're saying, wow, this really resonates with me. So yes, it may be something obvious that's like, duh, but nonetheless, when you make a list of it, you're starting to build a picture of yourself and what really matters to you, and the moreness that is involved in that. So we do discover that. But now we're saying the qualities, what we need for this. So yes, an interest in self-improvement, self-awareness, self-discovery, in growth, and of course, an interest in actual real change. So this is a big deal, because yes, an interest in just self-improvement in general, sort of, more or less, it's not enough. It's not enough. In order to truly, really self-change, we need to have more than just a general interest. We need to kind of almost have it as a need, almost as a bit of an obsession. Why? Because we are going to need to change deep habits of being, lifelong habits of self. And for this to change such deep habits, we need to have that extra energy that comes with that deep need to change, because we need to make persistent effort. So here we come to our first quality. Bina, will you write these down for me, please? Right?
Yes, I'm writing down.
Okay. So our first quality is this deep need. Right? A deep need
Yes.
to change. You can say need / desire. That's fine. A deep desire to change is also fine. It's sort of the same thing. But I've noticed that when with those who truly do change, that desire, it's so close to a need, they almost one and the same. So it's need / desire, or desire / need, right? We
Yes.
feel like we have to change, right? And Rachel, I feel like this is something that I see in you, that you have become aware, or are aware and have been aware for a long time, that some changes in you are needed and necessary. You have to change some things in you. Otherwise, your life is just not going to be right. It's going to be a mess. It's going to be a screw up. So this is a power in you that need to change. Okay, you could say desire to change. Same thing. Yes, Rachel? Am I Is that accurate? I don't want to just assume, Rachel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I just had it muted and it just like kicked my tea across the room.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay. So you have, when it comes to certain things in your life, you have this deep need / desire to change them. It's important to you. Really, really important. It's on
And
your mind all of the time, yes?
Yeah, and it's a thing as well because as you know, I've been struggling with some things
Yeah.
that I'm struggling to implement. And
Yes. Yes.
it was like a part of me was refusing to like move on from it, and it was
Yes.
like a constant inner struggle. And
Yes.
until I found out that thing about my testosterone,
Yes. That was
it's been
huge. That
easier
was
for me
huge.
because my brother about 10-15 minutes ago just tried pulling me into an argument, and that's the first time I've ever been able to walk away and not answer him back and not perpetuate it.
Brilliant.
Went off into my bedroom, and my mum was in the living room
Brilliant.
telling him to shut up because now he's the one that's carrying it on.
Brilliant.
And
Brilliant.
usually
Rachel?
I struggle with that
Yeah.
quite severely because
Yeah.
it's like this inability to be able to walk away and this inability to be able to keep my mouth shut. It's just like,
but a change of perception and a change of idea, this led to a profound change in your abilities, right? But we'll get to that a little bit later, Rachel. I want to go down my list. So yeah, I mean, I love this, and I do want to explore this part of things, but we'll do so at the end once we've identified all those qualities. You see, I mean, as we're gonna get, it's a big thing that this thing that's happened to you.
Yeah,
and I'm very keen to discuss it. Sorry.
I was just trying to say that there will be a part of some things that will stop you from moving forward, but then something will happen in your life and it will like release that hook.
Yes.
Almost. That's what I was trying to get at.
Yes. And you identify another quality. It's not necessarily the next quality, it's just another one. There's no order to that. And that quality is persistence.
Exactly.
Capital P, persistence. You didn't know how to do this. You kept kind of up against that wall. But that's the previous quality, is that deep need and desire. That need and desire leads to the quality of persistence. Because we need to and we desire so deeply, we just keep going. We just keep going because we have to. And we feel we want to. This is the key. So that want to, that need, that desire, when translated into the want to and application of it, it becomes capital P, persistence. You persist, Rachel. You keep at it. You come at it from this angle. You come at it from that angle. And that persistence, this is an absolutely essential quality. Because we can't give up when we hit the wall or when we don't know. Yes, it might be frustrating. It might be stressful, but we cannot give up. And I see this all too often. People they want to do life change, and they say they want to do life change, and they actually even believe they want to get to life change. But then they come to, for instance, something like this program. It's very overwhelming at first, but that overwhelm is just, this is too difficult, and then they give up. If you really, really want life change, you can't give up because it seems to be difficult. You don't have a choice. You have to keep going. So this desire and need to persist, this is very, 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 very critical. I mean, without that, we are just going to get kicked off this path. It's like the universe is saying, are you really for real about wanting this life change, or are you just saying it? So I think somehow it seems we get tested a little bit, right? And Bina, you've experienced this kind of testing from the universe a little bit also.
Yes, yes.
It pressed you hard. And then, but you came through it and you said, no, I really, really do want this. And then once you had come through that, then it was like all the brakes were off and there was no holding you back. And then like we did that whole Facebook Live on you saying you are going to be greedy for exploiting and taking advantage of this opportunity as much as you possibly can. So when we start and we have that need and desire, there are obstacles. Our ego gets in the way, our self-importance gets in the way, our habits get in the way, we a little bit shy, we may be timid, all of this crap. Right. But when we persist and we realize, oh, wait a second, learning is fun. Self-change is not just profoundly fun, but it is empowering. It's joyful. It's magnificent. It's glorious. It's awesome. It is every superlative you can possibly think. Then we shift into that connecting to our moreness. And when we start to do that, we cannot get enough of this stuff. right, Bina?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
Rachel, I
Absolutely.
feel the same for you as well. Yes, that this is it becomes super exciting. It doesn't become a stressful thing. Yes, Rachel.
It can be stressful because it's like when you don't see the progress that that you want or that you want to see. 'Cause,
Yes.
like myself as well, because I don't necessarily see my progress, so I can get quite
Yes.
frustrated thinking that
Yes.
I've not moved
Not yet.
or
It's
changed
coming.
at all.
It's coming, Rachel. It's coming. It's coming.
But
It's
things will
coming.
happen, and like it will
Yes.
show you
Yes.
that
But
you
that,
have.
yes. Yes. We
And like I said, it's just one small trigger. That's all it takes.
Yes, yes. And that's the thing with persistence. If we just persist, it will create that trigger. And I'll come to that in one moment. There are three qualities that can create that trigger of change, the trigger that sets us free, the timing, in other words, of the moreness coming of change. I'll come to those in a second. But I want to touch on the word that you said there, right? We got capital P, persistence. And next one is, now this is a quality. The quality is focusing on progression. The key word is progression, the key understanding, the key conception that we want to bring in, because it's not one that's readily usually part of our thinking, but we want to have this focus. And the quality here is a focus on progression rather than a focus on what our problems are and being immersed in all of our problems. No, all that does is make us into a bubble where we live in a world full of problems. We might have a zillion problems, yes, but we need to shift out of that, get out of the psychotherapy model of self-change and of fixing ourselves, because all that does is it involves you and immerses you into all of your problems, and you live in a world of problems. And then of course through attention we end up creating even more problems, and it just becomes a big mess. But if we shift, and this is a big shift, and this is a big power shift for you too, Rachel, is to shift out of focusing on all the things that you wish to change, problems in other words, to shifting to focusing on your progression. That focus on progression changes everything, because it's all in the implications. When we focus on progression, we are saying, oh, wait a second, I have progressed. You, Rachel, have you progressed?
Mm,
Are you the same person? I go, Are you
Yeah, I'm
definitely
just
not?
trying to think. I'm just
Right.
trying to think because it's like I have like Asperger's and anxiety and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's just
I know.
like my mind will
I'm
get
just
so
giving you,
panic.
a bit of a hard time. I just giving you a bit of a hard
No,
time.
don't worry about it. I
because
appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Rachel, I appreciate your deep honesty to be accurate, but this is a duh question. I mean,
Yeah,
you just from when the short time that I've known you, yes, we spent much time together. So, in actual, connectivity, it's a long time. But in real time, it's, in like real world or like ordinary world time. Let's just call it ordinary world time, not real world time. And in real world, we've known each other a long time. In ordinary world, a short time. In just
yeah.
this time that I've known you, you've changed profoundly.
It's just I was just trying to think because
I know, I know. It's your deep
that's all.
honesty. It's your deep honesty to answer the question. But it was a
Yeah.
bit of a rhetorical question, really. Right? So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's like,
Sorry.
Rachel, have you progressed? Have you really changed? Well, yeah, and duh. Now I understand your natural humility doesn't want to kind of claim more than what there is. So I appreciate that. But in this case, yes, duh, you have changed. And there
Yeah.
has been progression. There's been substantial progression because you've really changed deeply. Now, the key to focus on progression, and why this is such an important, and why we want to make this not just an ability and that we have to focus on progression, but to make it a habit, is because of the implications. If we focus on progression, what is the implication? We are saying, oh, I have progressed, Oh, wait a second. I have progressed. Oh, I have progressed. Wow, I have progressed. I can't get enough of saying that. Just, I have progressed. That's fantastic. I have progressed. I actually have progressed. Yay. Which means I can progress. Yes,
Yeah.
I
But
have, I can.
you see, the thing is I always try to look for specific examples.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
if I have or haven't.
Well, what was the
Um,
example this morning? Wasn't that an
well,
example
I
of
was just going to go
progression?
back to like mean, I can tell that it was just like a bit of an feeling like I was put on the spot a little bit, and my brain was just going because it's like 15 minutes ago, wasn't it? Like literally 15 minutes ago, 10, 15 minutes ago, I had that argument, didn't I? And I managed to walk away, and it's something I've never been able to do.
Yeah.
So,
Progression.
Obviously, I must have in some respect, right?
Yes. I'm dancing for you, Rachel. That is progression. That is progression. That is progression.
It's just because I've learned, and this might be a helpful tactic for anyone on like Facebook Live who suffers from anxiety in any form. It's when you feel like you've been put on the spot. It's just like you need to extend it, like making a noise, like going people the impression that you're thinking, so they give you a bit more time, or you repeat a question that somebody's asked you, so it gives you more time to think of an answer. And it's just like calming down internally before you can say anything.
Yeah. So what you did there is
panicking.
Yeah, you deliberately implemented a power pause. So power pause, something for your dictionary of power. Now you can implement a power pause in different ways. You can literally just say, 1 second, let me think about that. And then if some time goes by, you said, I'm thinking, you know, and if you have your camera on, you can go, you know, you can kind of indicate it physically. Okay, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And then you take as long as you like. If we see you thinking, that doesn't matter. And if you've said, hold on, I'm thinking, you know, and somebody says, you say, I'm still thinking. And then you can really think it through. But here's the key though. You don't have to feel embarrassed or feel bad or feel like you're doing something wrong by asking for time to think. Most people are more than happy to give you time to think. And it's a sensibility, but you can just mention it and say it and even ask for it. So
it's more like when you have that moment where you feel like you've been put on the spot, is you don't really think about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's getting used to thinking about it, but I've managed to get myself from like pure internal panicking to making that noise. So maybe that'll be the next step.
Yes, it's habit management, in other words. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, like I said to you last night, I was up at 2 o'clock in the morning because I had an afternoon nap. And I'm trying to learn to conserve my own energy.
Energy management is essential. It all begins with energy management. All right, so that's an interesting point here now, Rachel, that you bring up. Just when you bring energy management, it triggers up in my mind. We're talking about the essential qualities necessary for deep self-change, right? So one of those is energy.
Yeah.
We need to have the energy for this. Many people want to implement self-change and any kind of self-change, never mind deep self-change, but they don't have the energy for it. So this is not necessarily a quality, you know, it's debatable, but I believe we all could have that energy. But this is a key thing that's necessary. In other words, if somebody comes and says, you know, I want to join in the Wave Impeccable, but they're all tired and like, you know, and they're persistently tired. They're persistently exhausted. I'm saying, well, you might want to do this, but you don't have the energy to do it. It's not really going to stick. Nothing is going to happen because you don't have the energy. So unless you can change your life in some way to free up energy, you're kind of wasting your time, right? So this is very important because it's not just the energy to hear what's being said, and that so many people are capable of hearing things, but that brings us to our next quality, the ability to actually apply what's being heard, right? Not just the ability to apply, but the desire and the need for application.
You need the energy in order to be able to do that, because like one of the key foundations is what I've realized, and for me is going to be energy, because if you lack energy, then you're always, no matter what your mindset is, or no matter how positive you try and be, no matter what mood you try to pick, you will always end up with a shitty mood because you're too low on energy to function properly. So it would be a better idea to go for a nap than to think positively or try and choose your mood.
Bina, just on a little side note, well, a couple of points. Rachel, your energy today is really magical. It's really beautiful, really special, and it's really joyful, right? So that's point one. Second point is, Bina, that module, that session we did the other day on the habits, the start of the day habits, the during the day habits, the end of the day
Yes.
habits. I want to do that with Rachel. Very much. Yes, it's in a much later module, Rachel. We did module 1, session 1 the other day, but I want to jump because this is a module that we can do anytime. Most of them are like this, and it doesn't matter the order so much, but it's a very critical one. This habit management, it's very, very huge. So we'll do that as soon as we can, just to make a note.
Okay.
It will be really fun. Yeah, we can maybe even do it after the Facebook Live. So,
yeah. I mean, I've got time.
All right,
got like
brilliant.
a day.
All right, brilliant. Okay, so this quality that we are talking about, the quality of application, yes, it is connected to the energy. It's a related quality, but there's more to it. Many people come on, and I see this regularly. And if you go to workshops or seminars or whatever, in any context, many people they actually are unable to apply. Why? Because they say, "Oh, I know that. Oh, I know that," and they just get stuck in, "I know this." And when you say something even worse, okay, if it's something that they previously had some familiarity with, they say, "Oh, I know that," but they don't really. But that's one thing. Okay, so their belief in knowing is an obstacle to application. But even worse, they think that mentally understanding something is enough. It isn't. Sorry, but it isn't. Yes, understanding is crucial and important, but without application, it's completely meaningless. Means bugger all. So you can understand and have the most profound insight and realization possible. If you don't go then and apply it, means nothing. So we have many people are stuck in this. They believe that information is knowledge. It isn't. Knowledge comes from when you know it. Know it implies it's a physical thing. Knowing something, like knowing how to ride a bicycle, you can read all the instructions you like on riding and knowing how to ride a bicycle. But if you haven't actually ridden it, you don't know how to ride a bicycle. And it's a very interesting exercise when you see people try and do things that they think they know and they read about, for instance, or heard about, and then actually try and apply it, and it doesn't work.
Yeah, I understand that. Like, for me, for example, like special effects, I know all the special effects theories out there, but I've not tried them all. And doing something and reading about it are two different things entirely, because you've got to put into practice. So you need to get the muscle memory and the experience.
Yes.
However, for me, knowledge is that information. Wisdom is that practice.
Exactly.
Learning to use that knowledge effectively.
Yes.
So for me, that's the difference between knowledge and wisdom.
Exactly.
Information and practice.
Exactly. So we go information, knowledge, wisdom. Right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Wisdom is when you have mastery over your knowledge. Knowledge is when you have the ability to apply information. So yeah.
But I suppose for me, it would be like the information is the knowledge, and then you have the application of the knowledge, and then you have the wisdom to use that application appropriately.
Yes. It's all interrelated. But the key here is, we have to go from putting stuff on our hard drive of our computer to actually making a program out of it and actually utilizing it, actually activating that, and also to do this as a practice, as a thing that comes into our life, because we can have this realization. You sit at the workshop in the retreat, and you say, "Whoa," and you're all blown away because there's the energy in the room and everything is like, wow, and you're just blown away. But if you don't take that and apply it and turn it into a habit of self, then it means nothing. Because sometimes we have our old habits, they just come back when you're out of the retreat, you're out of that environment, you're out of the workshop, whatever, and then all your old habits come back. So this ability to stick with application, to persist with application until it now becomes the new you, this is important. So that ability to stick to the application of change is our next ability. We can call it just stick-to-itness. Right? It's similar to persistence, but persistence is, in this case, we are persisting when we don't know. But stick-to-itness, it is sticking to it until it becomes our own, until it becomes real, until we've mastered it, until we've used it. So this is just a habit of practice, right? So we have to have the ability to practice.
So is it like the hunter then? like persistence is the chase, and then you have the actual killing of the animal, and then the skinning of it, and that's
Yeah, kind of, but it's more like a musician. Like you learn a new piece of music. You go to the music teacher and you learn a new song. Okay, you've learned a new song. All right, so you go away,
but
fine. But
you,
now we
you
need to
should learn
practice it,
exactly. So
right? Which
therefore,
is, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
that difference between, because when you're practicing it, you kind of know it already, but you are looking to play it really well, right? And this is the difference, to make it your own, where it becomes natural and fluid, where you don't have to think about it, where it becomes innate, and that takes practice. We're doing the same thing over and over with slight tweaks and slight changes, because this is the key. So brings up our next quality. It's very important. We need to be insistent on making things our own, right? So in the same case with that musician, they play it in the way the teacher taught them, and there's, okay, they get it. But the more they practice, the more they make that song their own. And eventually when they can truly play it, when they've mastered it, when it's fluid, when it's smooth, it's their song. They playing it their way. So all of these new qualities and abilities that we acquire, like patience, like anger management, like integrity, like habit change, we need to persist in the application. We need to keep practicing them until they're our own, until they're innate, until they're automatic, until they're in the body. That's this practice, this quality of practice. This is important.
reminds me of like when I was trying to learn to play the piano, and there was this guy that I was learning from. He was like, if I show you how to play this piece of song, and he started playing Oh Danny Boy on the piano, and he was like, if I teach you to play this song, then you become reliant on me in order to learn music, because I'll need to teach it you. So if I teach you how to read a music sheet, then you can play any piece of music you want. So it's like that, really, isn't it?
Yep.
And I'm sorry if I'm like cutting you off, or like
Not a
a little
problem.
bit of a dick.
No, I love it. It's great. No problem. That's fantastic, Rachel. Yes, exactly. When you're doing now what you just did right there, you were making it your own, what was just said. You took the information, you took the knowledge, you took the awareness, you took the new conception, the new understanding, the new insight, and you say, how do I connect it into me to make it my own, that I have the understanding? So what you just did was this process of application, of making it your own. So fantastic illustration.
It's just that I feel something today. I just don't know what it is.
You're feeling the magic, you're feeling the moreness, and also you are feeling the empowerment of Rachel.
It's just like, although I usually get like 9 hours and 9 minutes of sleep, and I've had less sleep this time because I went to sleep at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, because I was talking to a friend who lives in America, and I've been asleep for like 4 hours, and I've woke up and I was a little bit shitty to begin with, I'll admit, because I was still tired. But then I've started to wake up, and even when I was really shitty and tired and had a bit of a low mood, I still managed to not get pulled into an argument. So I'm just sitting here, and it's just like I'm getting this energy out of nowhere, and it's just like,
Rachel? Because of a couple of reasons. One, you are celebrating, but two, you've something that is a deep something for you has been resolved. And know this, and this will happen. And when we're dealing with these things as we progress, and specifically in the way of impeccability, when we resolve something that's been a profound blockage, it frees up energy like crazy. I once had this with somebody where they literally didn't sleep for 3 days. They were so hyped and energy because they resolved a whole bunch of stuff. So yeah, when we resolve things, because those things, they're programs that are running continuously, looking for an answer, looking for a solution, and that continual running takes energy. You now have the answer to that. It's resolved. So that program is shut down. That energy is yours to use now.
well, I'm sitting here, even though I've had 4 hours sleep, I'm sitting here and I'm fidgeting with my fingers and things around me, because I have that much energy now. I'm literally just fidgeting, and it's just like, every time you're saying something, it's just like, oh wait.
Brilliant.
Something just comes to mind.
Yes, brilliant. And Sherry, busy connecting.
Hello, Sherry.
Connect to audio. Use the audio. Use the something. It says use the phones audio, a little thingy. There you go. Yeah, it's just like it asks you every time. You'd think it would just do it once. So hello, Sherry. Sherry, we're doing a Facebook Live.
Hello, Sherry.
Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
We're doing a Facebook Live right now, and we're doing it. The topic of the Facebook Live is essential qualities needed for deep self-change. So, Bina, will you read off the qualities that we have so far?
Oh yes. Okay. The essential qualities for the real self-change, deep self-change, is the first one is interest. Interested in. It is about having a deep, yeah.
Yeah, so it sounded like you were saying in trust. So interest, yeah.
No, interest.
Sorry, just the way the sound came. I just wanted to check. Sorry.
Okay. No, it is like okay. Having a deep need or desire, kind of obsession to be real, to aware of ourselves. So this is the first one, and the second one is resistance. We need that. I'm not repeating all what you have said. I'm just
no, it's fine. It's fine. No, it's fine.
Yeah,
you're doing it.
And the third one is progression. Actually, focus on progression.
Yes.
And the fourth one is energy management, of course, and energy itself. And 5 is a desire to apply for application.
Yes.
And the 6th one is insist on making things our own.
Yes.
So these are the essential qualities.
Yeah. On that previous one, number 5, they add practice. We need to be focused on practicing our application. It's not just enough to apply it and say, oh, I'm applying it, I'm doing it, I'm shifting to some. We need to practice it because we need to get it to a point where we fully own it. And that comes from practice. So to get from 5 to 6, we need to have that ability to practice things, which means the ability to repeat them, to do them over and over again until we have them fully fluid, fully owned, fully integrated. So practice is a very, very, very essential skill. I would probably say this ability to practice and to repeat and do what we already know, but to take it that little bit further and tweak it and fine tune it. This is an essential skill. It is absolutely critical for deep self-change. We're talking about deep self-change, and this deep self-change is overcoming lifetime habits. So we are really dealing in a very profound way with habit management and habit change. So it all comes down to the habits. If we don't learn how to deal with habits and changing habits, deep self-change really becomes difficult because we have this legacy of a lifetime of habits we have to change. So this is the key thing that we have to deal with. And that comes from that ability to practice, to be persistent in our practice, to focus on progression and to focus on energy management, because we need energy to make this extra effort to develop this change, to change the habits and to shift things. So it's very key. So it all works together. It's very key. And then another quality we need, of course, is something very simple, humility. The humility is so critical here because we have to say, oh, you know what? I do need to change. There are things about me that need changing, right? That I want to change. If we don't have humility, you see it with narcissists. They can't change because they can't ever admit that there's any need to change or desire to change. Well, because in their minds think, well, if I admit that I need to change, then I'm admitting there's something wrong with me. It's, of course, idiotic logic. It is just completely foolish. But that's the way they think. In their minds, they need to pretend they're perfect all the time. Of course, everybody knows they aren't, but that's their logic. It's just foolish. But when we have complete humility and we come in and say, it doesn't matter how much I already know, I want to learn more. And yes, of course, whenever we're learning stuff, we are going to encounter what we already know. And so what? We don't have to, when we have humility, we just relearn it. We just say, okay. And I don't have to say, oh, I already know this. No, it doesn't matter. That's the narcissist thing. We just say, cool. And we focus on it, and we focus on what else is there, the extra, the tweak, the extension. So, yeah, that's interesting. Okay. Yes, I already have some patience, and I already am patient, but it doesn't matter. We can talk about patience all day, because I want to extend my patience into capital P patience. So this is the humility, that we are open to learning. We are open to new information, even if it is taking what we already know and it just adding that little tiny tweak to it. That little tiny tweak sometimes can make all the difference. It's like your magic ingredient in your recipe. You bake bread, you don't add salt. Well, it's dreadful bread, so very little salt you add, but it needs to be in there. So, it's adding that little bit of salt to the change, to the newness. So very often the things that really make a huge difference are very, very small. It's just that well-placed comma, but they lead to profound consequence. So it is that humility is necessary to accept that we are learning much of what we already know, but we are just adding that tweak. So we don't get stuck in this, that I already know this. No, we are looking for that little tiny extra. So this is also a quality. It is to not be satisfied with sort of learning and with sort of knowing, more or less. No, we want to get it to its maximum. This is a very important quality, right?
Yes.
To be only satisfied with real change, with real mastery, with owning the new lessons, the new skills, the new abilities. So we don't want to be half-assed, right?
So these are the qualities.
Oh, there's more.
Required. Essential.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
There's more. So we talked about humility, right? And humility is absolutely essential. Then we need, with the humility, we need an openness, right? We need to be open to new ideas. If we're not, how are we going to get to real self-change? Because by implication, we're going to be dealing with the unknown of the self, right? In some way, right? So if we're not open to ideas, perceptions, attitudes, mindsets, conceptions, which are a little bit foreign to us, and we say, no, I don't, no, that's kind of weird. No, we need to be open that what might seem uncomfortable at first, what might seem awkward, might seem crazy, we need to have that complete openness to say, oh, I don't know, but let me check it out. Let me test it. And that openness is to come into things with a willingness to check it out, to assume that it could be valuable and useful. And that openness allows us to fully, properly test new ideas. We can't test ideas fully if we are doubtful about them. Yes, we can have those doubts, but we need to set them aside and say, I'm going to give this thing a full test within its own logic, not according to my logic, which is the logic of fear, the logic of doubt, the logic of uncertainty. I can't test it with those conditions. I have to test it with a full openness. So this is an acceptance of possibility. That acceptance is also an acceptance, or the openness, sorry, is an acceptance of possibility. So we have to be open to trying out new things, new ways of living, new ways of being, and doing so fully. Not half-heartedly, not half-assed, no, fully, right? Which, of course, for us, that is being impeccable. You can't embrace a new change if you don't do so impeccably, and you're just wasting your time. Hello, Sherry's hand.
Hi, good morning. I'm going to go get my tea.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
No problem. Brilliant. So you can just mute yourself when you do that, Sherry. Then
okay.
Then we don't hear you ordering. All right, brilliant. But you can listen. I love it. I'm just happy you're here, Sherry. I'm just happy you're here. So we're doing a Facebook Live. So, we're on a roll here and we've got a list. So we're going to end it soon and then we'll get into our things and do our own stuff. So very exciting. All right. So we have persistence, we have humility, we have openness, eagerness. I guess it's part of that desire, but eagerness and earnestness. Earnestness is a powerful quality. Yes, we can be eager, but it's the earnestness which really, really makes a difference. right? Because earnest means we really want to know. And when we are earnest, we can ask any question. Truly, this is a superpower that I'll share with you guys, right? When we earnestly want, earnestness means we genuinely, deeply, actually, really not only want to know, but kind of need to know. And when we ask an earnest question, we, by implication, that mood, we are saying to somebody, look, I'm not just asking this because, well, it's a curiosity and it's an idle question. No, this is something I really, really want to know. This is important to me. So earnest questions tend to leverage people. And mostly when we ask an earnest question, people are happy to answer your earnest question. Unless, of course, it's something that you can go and look up on Google, right? So, but I'm talking about when we typically ask an earnest question, it is because we're impeccable. We've already gone to Google. We've already checked. We've read. We've done everything that we could possibly do to find that answer. And we're saying, you know what, I haven't been able to find this answer, and I want help with this. So that earnestness says, now you will get people helping you because this is important. So understand the power of earnestness. And this ability to ask is another powerful necessity when it comes to deep self-change. Not just to ask questions, but to ask for help. If we can't acknowledge that we need more than just ourselves, if we can't acknowledge that we do need assistance, we want assistance. It's not help in the sense of, oh, I want somebody to do it for me. No, assistance, not help, assistance. Yes, it is help in a way, but it's more assistance because we're going to try and do whatever we can on our own. But we also understand that there's power in collaboration, right? And this is another essential quality. To appreciate and understand the power of collaboration. Look at the collaboration that we're doing here. Rachel, those comments that you made earlier, right? They, like the last one where you said about your music teacher. That was exactly the perfect example of just exactly exemplification of you making it your own, right? So what you did added to what I said, and the two things together made a moreness that added to individually on their own, they don't mean much, but when you put them together, whoa, now it's magical, right? So collaboration is huge, and to understand that sometimes just listening is a collaboration. Like for me, right? Okay, yes, I'm sort of making a list and I'm saying stuff, so I'm doing most of the talking here now. But if you guys weren't here listening, I wouldn't do this. I was like, why bother? So your listening is an interest, it's an energy that leverages me. And of course, for me personally, the fact that you have that earnestness, all of you, the earnestness is part of your being. You are here because you earnestly desire to learn and grow and to explore and self-discover and all of these things. That earnestness has a profound effect on me. It actually pulls stuff out of me. Like I said to Bina when we started, I had no idea what I was going to say. It wasn't formulated in words, nothing was prepared. No, but the earnestness of this endeavor, enough, it pulls stuff out of me. And when somebody asks me an earnest question, wow, sometimes, for months will go and I will keep answering that for months at a time sometimes, because more comes.
Yes.
So just know that earnest questions have a very profound effect on me in particular, but in general also. So what was that last point that I was on, Bina, that I said?
Earnestness.
After earnestness, there was more. I said something else, and I said, collaboration. That was the point. Collaboration. So, yeah. To understand the power of collaboration, right? Then, two, we want the quality of appreciation and celebration. Look at Rachel. Rachel's in appreciation and celebration mode right now. Rachel's acquired a milestone, right? This is a big deal, Rachel. That's why I don't want to leave it alone. Yes, I'm on a mission with this Facebook Live, but I also want to get back to adding, to collaborating in your celebration of this simple thing that came along that is profound and life-changing, right?
Yeah. I'm just enjoying listening.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, it's magical. So we get to another essential quality, leveraging emphasis, right? Look at this point now. with Rachel. Rachel discovered something about herself, which is profoundly changing. You can read the post in the group to see what it is. I'm not going to say what it is. I'll leave a mystery so you can go and read Rachel's post. Very profound post. Huge post, right? So that one little thing that she found out, just a very simple little thing, which might for other people like but for Rachel it was huge because of implications, because she paid attention to implications. So okay, paying attention to implications, another essential quality for self-change. But and then now we need to emphasize this. Why? Because through this celebration and appreciation, that emphasis of this change, of those implications, it now Rachel is locking them in, and she's, because of this energy, it is rewiring her brain. She's saying, I can. And this is bringing us to, yes, there are many qualities that are essential for life change, but we have enough. We don't need to list every single one of them. So this brings us to our last essential quality, and it is a profound quality, and that is to come to the point of believing that I can change. That's it. I can change. Rachel, for you personally, this has been a big struggle with this to get to this point of actually really deeply believing that you can change.
Well,
that it's up to you, that I can do it. Right.
Yeah,
right.
I know I can do it.
Right. But I
now
mean,
I can.
Exactly. At some point, you doubted whether you had the ability to change. We all technically know we can, but to feel it as a realness, that's a different thing. So we want to have this initially. Yes, it might be a belief. Yeah.
Initially, I thought it was part of my nature, and it turns out that it's not part of my nature. It's something that was learned.
Exactly.
So if it's been learned, then it can be unlearned.
Yes.
But if it's part of your nature, then you can't actually fight it. You have to make peace with it, because if you fight it, that's why I don't like the term fighting your demons.
Yes.
Because that creates chaos. That creates more chaos inside yourself.
Exactly.
The trick is not to fight your demons; it's to dance with them.
Right. But that's still right. Exactly. But that still is, and you have to get into that mindset that I can deal with this in some way.
Yeah.
I can find a solution. I can come to resolution. However it is, in this case, whether it's accepting your innate nature or saying, oh, no, it's not my innate nature, it's learned behavior, it's habit, I can change it. Either way, we have to believe that we can do something about it. That we have the ability to change.
If it is your nature, then yes, you can't fight it because it does create chaos. You have to make peace with it. But that doesn't necessarily mean you can let it run rampant either.
Exactly.
You have to learn to control it.
Exactly.
But if it's learned, then it's not a demon. If it's learned, it's not a demon, it's habit. And habit can be changed.
Exactly.
And I'm more determined now to change that habit because it's not part of my nature, which means it's not a demon, which means I don't need to dance with it. I don't need to resist it because it's not part of me. It's just habit.
Right. The essential quality is that you had a profound belief or acceptance of the fact that I can do something about this. Whether it is accepting it, whether it is changing it, doesn't matter. If we don't believe that we actually have the ability to change, nothing is going to happen. Right. And I don't mean change in terms of change of how we deal with our innate nature, or change in terms of how we change our learned behavior. Either way, it is change of some kind. It is learning of some kind. If we don't believe it's up to us, if we feel like we're incapable of learning and growing and changing and understanding and awareness and discernment and all this stuff, if we believe this, and this is a societal stuff. Sometimes people have been told, you're useless, you're no good, you can't learn, you're a nothing. And they come to believe it. They come to believe they don't have the capability for learning and growing and change. And this is our last essential quality. And so, especially when it comes to overwhelm also, people get overwhelmed, and this is the key quality in overwhelm. When you get overwhelmed, you get into that mindset, oh, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this.
when you get overwhelmed, it's usually because you're trying to do 120 different things at once. I had that problem in the beginning because I'm listening to everything that you're saying, and I'm trying to implement every bit of it. And the trick is to tackle it one at a time, and to do it as it comes, not do it all at once like I did, because you're going to crash and burn. And so no matter how much energy you have, you burn straight through that energy.
Yes, exactly. So we can say also part of the essential qualities of this I can, like a little subsection there, you can, a side thing. The I can, the mindset comes, and one of the things that leads to it is developing the ability to deal with overwhelm.
Yeah.
And exactly what you said. It's so simple. Overwhelm is such a repetitive, repeat problem. When I do the workshops, I ask people things that really pressure them and that are a big deal in their lives, that put stress on them. Overwhelm almost always comes up. And the very simple technique for dealing with overwhelm is find the one thing that you can do that is easy and simple to do. The easiest, simplest thing that you can do, find that and do it. That's it. Find the tiniest little thing that's easy to do and do it. Then you do that again. You just keep repeating. And you shift your focus to doing just that one easy thing to do. Because now you're obviously emphasizing, easy stuff to do. And you keep doing it. You keep doing it. Yes, Bina.
Okay. So we have been doing this like for an hour almost.
Wow.
So now it's time. Yes. So it's time to just encapsulate it real quick in 2 minutes. So what we were discussing.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I want you to do that first.
Oh, you want me to do a recap? Okay. So what we
just a simple.
Are you going to do all of the, I missed the very beginning.
Yeah, I'm going to do a recap.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Okay, we will do that. We will do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will do that.
All right. So recap and takeaway. So our Facebook Live is on the essential qualities necessary for deep self-change. That's what we've been talking about. So the key here in the essential qualities, we've been talking about things like having a deep desire for self-change. This is essential. If you don't have that deep desire, and that deep desire almost needs to be a need, because that will create the energy that we need. It will create the momentum that we need. It will create the continuity. It will actually shift us from just thinking we want it and believing we want it to actually doing something about it, to really making an effort to do stuff. And this leads to all of many of the other qualities. Yeah, Bina?
No, I'm just.
Oh. Okay, so this leads to the other qualities that we come up with. All of them are qualities like persistence, focusing on progress, qualities of that earnestness that we want, and the qualities of making things our own. And an essential quality is learning to say, hey, practice. This means I'm going to learn stuff I already know, but I'm learning just a little bit the extra, a little tweak that makes all the difference. So the ability to redo, to reapply, to relearn what we already learned, but to extend it. This is very essential, because when it comes to self-change, it is all about application. Application is the key. Without application, it's all meaningless. So we need to be focused on this. And we also need to understand collaboration, how important collaboration is. Like what we are doing now. This is, to me, magical collaboration. Your energy leverages me. My energy hopefully leverages you. What you say stirs something in me. It brings it up. It adds. Like when I said something earlier, Rachel gave an example, or at least, shared what came up for her. And that what came up for her added to what I said, and the 1 + 1 equaled more. So understanding collaboration. All of these are qualities that are essential for deep self-change. And the key one is to believe and know that you can. Despite not knowing how, we need to believe in our ability to change and grow. If we don't believe that we can, forget it. You're wasting your time. So it doesn't matter that we have no clue how. We simply need to say, I know I can. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to persist. I'm going to keep going until I figure it out. Doesn't matter that I'm overwhelmed right now. Doesn't matter that I feel lost and confused right now. No. When you really believe that you can, you persist despite not knowing how. Despite not having a clue, you persist anyway. And this is the most essential quality, this belief that you can change and you can grow. Very
essential. Thank you so much, sir, for this. Rachel, if you have any question or just share your takeaway.
No, I don't have any questions.
Any takeaway?
So what's your takeaway?
1 minute.
Take it. I love it. See, now I want to emphasize. I want to emphasize that instead of Rachel shifted that, because for her, when she gets put on the spot or feels like it, then she says to give her time. But then we talked about this earlier to say, hey, ask for a minute. And you did that now. So I know I'm interrupting your pause here, Rachel, but I want to emphasize what you just did. You implemented self-change right there. You implemented. You habit changing. And right there. So I want to make a big deal out of it, because to say, you just did it, Rachel. You just did what you said you were going to do, what you wanted to do. It's magical. It's magical. Fantastic. So you take
I appreciate you going on explaining that, actually, because it gives me more time to think.
I figured as well. So it's brilliant. It's brilliant. So again, just Rachel, just anything that you feel that was something that connected with you. So let me maybe rephrase the questioning a little bit. A takeaway. A takeaway is something that, that was valuable to me. Oh, that was useful to me. Oh, that was really interesting to me. Oh, I want to explore that more. Wow, that's significant. Anything that touched you or leveraged you or stimulated you in any way?
Well, I suppose it'd be that, the knowledge, application, wisdom thing.
Yeah.
1 minute. Someone's knocking on my door.
That's okay. Yeah, that right there is profound, Rachel. So while Rachel attends it's opportunity knocking, it's the universe knocking to say, oh, you know what? There's more. You can. All right. So Sherry, any thoughts to share? I know you came in halfway through, but in terms of essential qualities necessary for deep self-change, anything that comes up for you? Sherry, you unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, yes, now.
Okay. What time did you start this morning?
We actually started very early. Bina came on early, so this was
6:25.
Yeah, but Sherry, we're doing something extra. It's not our usual morning Zoom, which we do start at 7. We just did an extra. We're doing a Facebook Live, so this is going directly to the Facebook group. So we're going to end that in a minute and then do our normal chat. So.
Okay, got it. All right.
That's why Bina was reminding me on the time. Normally we try and do those maybe like an half an hour, or an hour. So let's wrap this up then, okay? And then we'll chat to you, Sherry. So unless you have something to say specifically about essential qualities needed or necessary for self.
Well, I'm absorbing this myself because I'm looking at how can I increase my desire and passion for change.
Gotcha.
But I don't want to.
No problem. So what we'll do is, Bina, if you would email me that list, then I will make a post out of that list. Or you can do it either way.
Okay,
I
will.
On
so before going, I want to share my takeaway, because this is what I was noting down. What we were doing today is basically, Sil, you were discussing the basic architecture of self-change and self-improvement. And what you discuss, what we share with us is that it is not any vocational program or professional skill or self-grooming course. We were discussing about the real deep self-change, inner change. And as you articulate all these things, you discuss and share like pillars of self-change, almost 7 or more than 7 pillars of change in that. First is having deep desire, interest in that. Desire is more relevant for me, because even it exceeds from the need. Because yes, if I say, as per my perspective, everybody needs self-improvement, no matter how they are and aware, still, because awareness is always it's a process. So everybody needs that. but we need to have a desire to achieve that, to get that.
Yes.
So the desire is more relevant for me.
Yeah.
And after having interest in that, the first thing I feel is to have to actually build an ability to be on a neutral spot, to be on a void, because if I'm carrying all the baggage, all the knowledge, I'm using the word baggage for that. But if I'm
because
just
it come
carrying,
up recently.
yeah, if I'm carrying all my knowledge, all my information, mostly information,
All your
but
old
yes,
self.
also, yes, of my old self, and I'm just looking at all these new things, new perspectives through my old self lens, I will not get anything in clarity, in totality. So when we discuss about something, when we want to have something, we need to be on a neutral place. Now, for me, being on a neutral place is just not considering I know. Yes, it's a little voice in our mind continuously saying that, oh, this is what I know, this is what I already know, this is what I already know. But knowing something, having understanding of something, and feeling something is totally different. And then it comes to persistence, because yes, it is the most crucial part of this. It is overwhelming. It gets boring sometimes. I'm using the word boring, not for me, but yes, I know that for some people. I never feel bored.
It might
It's just
be
strange.
boring. It's a potential
Yeah.
possibility. It's never
Yeah.
been boring for us, but it might be.
No, never. But yes, it might be. And sometimes it's, yes, overwhelming and also too much. Yes, so I'm using the two words here because overwhelming in the feeling side, but yes, too much also, because this is really too much.
Yeah.
Having a deep inner change, real self change is actually too much of a work to do. So yes, overwhelming also, and too much also in quantity. And then so we need persistence, keep going, because to have and also here comes a capability trust, that yes, I need to have a trust in the process that I will get something. So being to be on a neutral spot and then keep resisting on that, yes, I will. So keep doing that. So it is again the most crucial quality. And then the focus on progression, because every single time, yes, it will be in the beginning. For me, it was a very tiny little thing. Even I need to just look at in through the microscope or something, the change, because my ego, my old self, my beliefs and everything was there. So the change was really, really tiny, miney kind of thing. But we need to focus on that tiny grain of change in the beginning. So it will become more in future. So the focus on progression is also because this is what keep us going in that. This is what keep us motivated to do that. Having energy. Actually, sir, I think that you use the word energy is a very polite thing, because because it's an umbrella term again. Energy means you need to sacrifice other things in your life, like just scrolling YouTube videos for hours, just your time. So you need to sacrifice on that.
Yes.
I had to, and just chatting without having any particular intent. So yes, and scrolling on Facebook or just doing some or just keeping busy yourself in mundane things which are not actually required. We just create that to be active, to be in doing something. This doing is a big deal. Now I realize, thanks to yourself. So we need to sacrifice on that. So energy is an umbrella term. Be aware. Yes, it's a whole, because energy is your time. Energy is your mood. Energy is your passion. Everything comes into energy. The energy is also, and insist on making things own. I was not aware that why it is so important, but now it is important because when we connect these ideas when we found any connection, not we actually do that, sometimes we just found the connection. Like Rachel, she found that connection
Yes.
to her previous experiences, because we have been in that situation, so all our senses were there. We can smell that, we can touch that, we were there physically, we were there. So all our senses are connected to that story, that incident, that happening. And when we connect, when we found the connection to this idea, new idea of self-change with that incident in the past, we make it our own because we have connected all our senses with that.
Yes.
It is a huge deal.
Yeah.
So then it actually imprinted in our body. It becomes physical. It becomes physical.
Yes.
So it is just not an idea anymore. When we make it our own, and when we found connection, it becomes something physical in our body.
Crucial.
Yes.
Without that, it all is meaningless. This is the
Yes.
application we are talking about, to make it into
Yes.
our own, to make it physical. Yes.
Yeah. And then humility, ego, yes, it's crucial. Yes, it will happen again and again and again. And it is good. It is good. It needs to be happen. It bounds to be happen to us, to ego, that it will crash, it will feel uncomfortable many times. Yes. And openness, without openness, I don't think so that anything can be achieved or anything can be happen. No. So openness is crucial for everything. Earnestness, yes, universe always answer those questions asked with earnest desire, intent. So in earnestness is also collaboration. Like yes, like today, Rachel, your energy, you just put that and you just come and you share your experiences. It's amazing. So collaboration is a huge deal also. Leveraging emphasis. I'm doing this right now. I'm trying to practice that. I'm just emphasizing, trying to emphasize on all these things.
Yes. You're emphasizing
And
application, which is magical.
yes,
And
yes,
doing it, actually doing it, and
yes,
emphasizing the fact that you're actually doing it. And it makes this infinity loop. It's fantastic.
yes. And the first milestone we will achieve, we will be on in the way of self change, real deep self change, will be I can.
Yeah.
This title, this idea, this perspective, this new idea, and this sense of achievement, this sense of satisfaction, I can. It's a huge deal, and it's a first milestone. It is, I don't think so that it is actually an essential quality for required for that, but it is actually a milestone because this is an achievement when I can feel and I can say that I can. So it's an achievement. For me, it is not a quality required for self, but it's an achievement.
Yes.
It's a milestone with that.
Yes. And then
So,
it changes
so
everything.
that was
when we believe that we can change, we can learn. When we are enabled thus, that I can is what enables us. And once we're enabled, this leads to being empowered because we're learning.
I think that you need to be a bit careful there because some people would, like me, require proof.
Yes.
And we can't prove it to ourselves through.
Yes.
It's the same thing that I had to do with my own spirituality.
Yes.
You have to find the proof. And once you've found that proof, then believing is not required.
Exactly. That's the self-proof. And yes, Rachel, you touch on a big deal. So yes, we are just going through the list of qualities. Now this I can, particularly in this case when it comes to proof, this is a big deal. So let me elaborate on that. It's actually very, very pertinent here. I know we're going a little longer than we mean to, Bina, but it's essential. So somebody new joined the Wave Impeccability yesterday. And when new people come to join, and he's going to be doing the program fully, right? And so, you've come into it in a kind of a roundabout way. So, but usually when people join like this new, the first thing we do is point out that the program is going to be overwhelming. It's going to result in feelings of, or likely, or possibly, but most likely, just from our experience, is going to have overwhelm because there's a lot to it. There's just a lot to it. There's no way around that. And so there's overwhelm initially is typically what people experience. So we say, be aware that you will be feeling overwhelmed, that you might feel confused or lost. And it might even lead to some depression because it could lead to worldview collapse and to reassessment. And we kind of become aware of how much of an nincompoop we were. Okay, this is part of real deep self-change. But so we focus and emphasize this in the beginning, precisely, Rachel, for this point of proof. So now we say, okay, remember in the beginning, pay attention to how overwhelming this seems and how lost and confused maybe you feel. Pay attention to it. Remember it. Why? Because we know if you just persist, there's going to come a point in time, like say with Bina and with you, Rachel, where you don't feel that overwhelm anymore. Right? Or what you also, Sherry, where you don't feel that overwhelm anymore, where you're saying, you know what, it's all simple now. I'm getting it. I'm seeing the connections. And then you go back and you remember how you used to feel and you compare it to how you feel now. Right? I mean, Bina, for
I
you.
recommend that it's for people who are starting with it.
One second, Rachel, 1 second. I just want to finish the point. Sorry. Because in that comparison of the before and the later, that's the proof. That's the proof that's needed. When we do and we persist through overwhelm and we go back and say, wow, you know what? I don't feel overwhelmed now anymore, which means I can overcome overwhelm. I can learn. That is the proof. Simply through persistence, we get to that proof. So say again, Rachel.
In the beginning, I wish I did it, but I suppose it would be a good thing for people to do, like actually keep a diary.
Yes.
And just write how you feel in the beginning and then just carry it on so you've got something that is concrete proof of how you were before. It's like, for me, like I said, when I had that argument, I managed to do something that I was never able to do. So for me, that's going to be some form of proof that either I am changing or I've changed from before.
Rachel, that's why we do keep a diary. You might not have written it, but we'd like to record all of the not just, well, this is a Facebook Live, it's automatically recorded, but when we do the Wave Impeccability, the Zoom sessions, I try to remember to record those also for this exact reason. So I will look through the recordings, Rachel, and send you a link of the very first time we chatted, and then you can maybe listen to that and see. And you can, it may be recall how you may be looking at it and say, oh, now I see, I can, you can remember how you felt then. But yeah, it is very, and this is part of doing the Wave Impeccability, is precisely keeping a journal of your story. You're writing down all your takeaways, you're making the dictionary of power. And one of those that, like with the person who joined yesterday, we emphasized, pay attention to how you are feeling now and as we get into it, so that later you can use it for comparison. And that comparison is the proof that I can.
For me, in particular, I have posts that I've had in the group, so as opposed to I do in some way.
Yes.
Because I still have those posts.
Yes. And
one of those posts were the fact that I was watching this Viking motivational speech, and that they're saying that eventually a lone wolf is never alone for very long and will eventually find a pack. And in that, I quoted that in that post and said that I'm not trying to be offensive or anything, but I still feel that I haven't found that pack. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still don't feel like I have that pack, but I have the feeling that I have the tools to be able to find that pack if I so want. Even though I have the ability to find it.
Perfect.
I was completely at a loss.
Yeah. At least, Rachel, you are maybe a lone wolf still, but you see a pack out there and they're fairly close by, and you can go into them if you want to, and then you can go out as well. So you're at least aware of packs. Yeah.
I'm a lone wolf by choice.
Yes.
But I used to feel like it was forced upon me, but now it's come to a realization that actually no, I'm a lone wolf by choice. I'm doing it deliberately, whether I realize that or not, whether consciously or subconsciously. It is a choice.
Wow.
For everyone, it is a choice, no matter how shit you feel. It is a choice, and you are subconsciously, if not consciously, deliberately doing that to yourself.
Yes, Bina, I hear you.
Okay.
Rachel, hold that thought. We'll continue. No, it's all good. We'll continue talking about it, but on this point, this deep point of I can change. I can learn and grow. This is so essential, and I want to leave it there. So we can explore and
Yes.
in the chat and comments and everything, go into how we do this. But I want to leave it on this point that we can. Yes, we can.
Oh, yes.
Can. All right.
Thank you so much, Sherry. Thank you so much, Rachel, for being here on FB Live.
Yes.
So we are
Okay.
going now.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay.
And
Bye. Bye from here.
Yes, bye-bye. And so what I'm going to do also, I ended the live stream, but what I want to do this just for the recording to end the meeting, and then I'll start a new meeting immediately after that. So just, it will automatically kick you off. Just rejoin. Did you hear, Sherry? I muted you. So we're going to exit and then just rejoin in literally a minute.
Okay.
Just makes the recording separate.
Okay.
All right. So end meeting.
Okay. Yeah.
End meeting for all.